Welcome back to the desk, everybody. My name is Ardog with the Triple G, your host here at the PCC, and I'm joined by our desk analysts, Ed and Lance. Let's take a look at the current bracket. We're now watching our last series of the day. Today was just banger after banger after banger. Lance, tell the people about the bracket.
So for the bracket, we've got a first really good semifinal coming up. We've had Prof and D-Lab B finals in the past. I believe that has happened multiple times. These guys keep running into each other. Both of them had pretty good series today. D-Lab had a little bit of a tougher opponent with Flow State than what Professors had in P-Tab, and they looked very sharp in it. I expect that semifinals to be very, very good. And then whoever wins this next series has also quite the mountain to climb going into chefs here. What we expect tomorrow is a lot closer series than we've had today. And I think that tomorrow is going to be potentially 20 of the best players in the game going at it against each other with the 4 remaining teams.
It certainly will be nutty. But now we're going into our last quarterfinals of the day. This is Indecisive versus the Hive. We gotta look at some numbers and see what we're getting into. These are some statistics from Swiss and groups. Ed, talk to us about them.
Well, looking straight from the top here, the KDA on Indecisive is just, I mean, it's almost twice as much as the Hive has. So you know that these guys are really good skilled players. In my opinion, it's almost unfair. They've got 2 of the dev team players on there. The objectives, Import is running that jungle, God King Import. You know they're all about the Raptors, everything else. Going down from there, the gold per minute, the damage, and the CS per minute are all pretty similar, but we know who Neft is, and the dude just has perfect CS in too many games. It's incredible. They're going to have a little bit higher average than most teams just because of that aspect alone.
But now we're looking at some of these heroes. We got the most banned being Argus. And of course, we got the most picked being Bellica and Kwang. Lance, what else can you say about these bans and picks?
So the bans and the picks, it looks like there is a lot of mid lane priority for these, and I'm not super surprised to see that. Argus, during our Swiss and group stage before this last patch came out, where he did face a nerf, did feel pretty particularly strong into this. Bellica felt like the most consistent answer to him as well. So you see that being picked up a lot. And then Rizbro doing a lot of work, or I'm sorry, not Rizbro, Guru over here for the side of Hive, doing quite a bit of work on the Quang, one of his favorite champions. Nice to see Guru competing again and then getting the priority for the picks from his team. Don't be surprised to see Hive try to play through their solo laners with the way that these teams stack into each other with their matchups.
And we'll have to see what heroes they'll be picking. But going back to that Gideon, though, game after game, and we're looking at the broadcast, he's just been so good. Let's look at the statistics here, Ed.
Well, pick rate's almost 50%. Ban rates is higher than almost any hero we've seen so far. So Gideon is just an absolute monster. His utility and everything else, just from the damage and what he can do, he is a game changer. We saw it in the last game with Skype Hamster just kind of putting the whole team on his back. I mean, he was the heart and soul of the damage and setting up team fights. Gideon's he's a menace. So obviously he's going to be a high priority from a lot of teams. And, with an Argus ban on both sides there, don't be surprised if Gideon is in 2, if not 3 of the games that are played here.
His ultimate just changes games, and we saw that just like what you mentioned. But now it's time to look at this draft. Sorry, excuse me. Well, before we go into this draft, we gotta take a look at our predictions, excuse me. So we talked about Indecisive a little bit, but what else can you tell us about them there, Lance?
So Indecisive has a bunch of ridiculous players on their team. Pretty much everybody on this roster is an all-star. We saw them a bunch during our Swiss stage, but I have to highlight the man and the myth. He has not won 1, 2, 3, 4. He has won 5 Feng Booth Championships. He's also won a PCC. The game is played through Neft when Indecisive is on the map.
Yeah, Indecisive is just full of previous champions from PCC or whether that be from other tournaments. You've got Import, Neft, Shin, Morose, ManQ. Is that correct that you'll be locking in Indecisive for your prediction, Lance?
I hate to do it to my boy Atomic, but with zero hesitation, I will not be wrong twice in a row. I'll take Indecisive.
He's locking in, boys. But Ed, on the other side, what can you tell us about the Hive?
I think Warps is one of the better ADCs in this entire game. Obviously, he's going to be with just making it this far in the tournament, but in my own scrims and everything else in my pub games with Warps, he's a gamer and a half. You know, he's going to be pretty close to Neft as far as everything goes, because Neft has the ping situation that all the EU guys seem to deal with, but still have lower ping than me. Must be weird. Boinks is a heck of a support too. I think that's going to be a really, really strong dual lane. Guru is a gamer too. Even though that Indecisive might be a higher skilled team and everything else, I do think that the Hive is going to be right there with them the whole time.
Who are you going to be predicting to win this series, Ed?
I'm hoping for an upset today. I don't think it's going to be a 2-0, but I am going to have to take the Hive. I'm sorry, Neft. You stood me up in Vegas. I'm not over it. I'm still salty. We're going to have to go to the Hive.
Oh, it's personal. Whoa. So he is going to be locking in Hive, and that leaves me to choose between these two yet again. I'm going to have to lock in Indecisive. I think they're full of players that have previously won a lot of tournaments, whether it be here in the PCC or at Feng Booth, which is an EU-based tournament for Predecessor. So it's full of just gamers all around. You've got Import, Neft, Shin, and Morose, as well as ManQ. So I think it's going to be, they're going to show up today for this series. But now it's time to look at the draft. We looked at the most banned hero being Argus. Lance, is that something you're expecting to see? What else are our priorities here?
I do think with us playing on the most current patch that Argus probably isn't going to be prioritized ban-wise. I would not be surprised if Hive goes the route of banning Shin's Bellica away from him, and we do see the Gideon taken off right away from Indecisive, which is one of Atomic's comfort picks. A lot of the time, Atomic defaults to Countess if he does not have Gideon available to him. So I would be very surprised if we did not see not the ban that I saw. So I'm very surprised. I was expecting a Bellica here. We'll see if Indecisive takes it first rotation. What do you think, Ed?
Go ahead, Ed.
Oh, okay. Ardog, you looked like you were ready to jump on something. Didn't want to cut you off. But see, we have the Argus on the first pick here. The Hive, knowing that Morose is very confident and strong with that Zarus ban, I feel like that's going to be a targeted ban there. Or it could be the fact that Zarus has just been a heck of a hero through this time here. So Howitzer and Drongo on the Hive side, this is a high damage team. You know, Howitzer right out of the gate is going to be able to do a lot of damage, and he's going to be able to kind of counteract the Argus clear too. And it's going to be a fun one in the mid lane. But I'm going to give more of the priority to Argus in it though.
Interesting to see the Wraith come through really early for Indecisive too. Gonna put that over into the hands of Neft, have the Argus locked up as well, and the Crunch picked through here. So pretty interesting so far. A lot of lockdown potential. You know, you got the rewind with the Wraith, all of the CC that comes in with Argus. You've got the forward crunch micro stun, or you got the forward crunch micro stun with the crunch into the knockup as well. Hive gonna look to be answering. They're gonna pick the Kalari up, which I am happy to see Kalari. We have not seen it yet today.
Yeah, I think Crunch is kind of a pretty good counter to Kalari, though, so kind of a little bit questionable, but it's Nugslet. Nugslet is a really, really good jungler, arguably top 3, if not top 2. With the Kwang ban here, too, there's a little bit of targeting going on back and forth, and Rampage out of there now, too. That's going to pretty much force Crunch into the jungle spot, in my opinion. I think so far the advantage is going over to Indecisive.
I think so too. They're going to pick up the Decker to support the Drongo over here on the side of Hive, so that will most likely be Boinks piloting Decker. And now we get to reveal the rest of the team comp for Indecisive. It is going to be the patented morose Grux here. And before this comes in, I'm going to try. I've seen Import play a little Iggy Jungle. He was playing it the other day on stream. It's going to be the Bellica, which is so disappointing to me. I was really hoping that it would come through. I'm glad that Indecisive has more respect for Hive than to play that, but that's going to be the Bellica. A lot of flex between Argus and Bellica for who's going to be mid and who is going to be support. It is going to hinge on probably, actually, no, the Howitzer's already picked, so it's going to depend on who they want to put it on. Either one is a good option.
Right. And looking at Indecisive's draft, they have a lot of CC here and a lot of damage too. You know, going into a Kalari and Howitzer, I mean, it's a great pickup by Hive, grabbing that Sevarog as quick as they can. But again, the front line for Indecisive and just the engage that they have with so many stuns and just poke damage, I think I like Indecisive's drafts a little bit better.
And talking about the draft, now that it's done, I'm going to just ask you to just explore a little bit more. What is the engagement coming from Indecisive there, Ed?
I mean, their engage is just going to be an Argus lob. I mean, you can do it from pretty much wherever on the map, it kind of seems like. And once Crunch and Grux are on you, you just put your keyboard down, you're done. You can't do anything with it. And Neft on Wraith, he's going to just poke, and you're done. Especially with how squishy that the Hive is on this one.
And Lance, what were you going to say about your thoughts?
I know that they needed a frontliner pretty badly. I'm surprised to see Sevarog be picked up for Guru, especially playing it into the Grux. Grux is so aggressive early, and Morose, it's his specialty character. He's gonna just hold down the forward button and run at Guru on this for the first couple of levels. And if the Sevarog gets behind early, it's so hard for him to catch up late because it takes so long for him to do it. But we'll have to see if Guru is going to be able to outplay Morose here.
That's definitely going to be a tough matchup for him. Is he going to be able to scale into the late game as he becomes that raid boss that he is? But we're not going to waste any more time because we're going into game number 1. This is a best of 3 series between Indecisive and the Hive. Take it away, TJ and Falcon.
Thank you so much, R-Dog. What a day of Predecessor that we have had. All of these quarterfinal matchups. We've had stomps, we've had absolute bangers, we've had memes, and we've also had some entertaining gameplay as well. But of course, all good things must come to the end. It's the final quarterfinal series. It's a TJ and Falcon cast for this one. Falcon, I hope you've recovered from the some of the drafting that you saw in that last series. And we have a bit more of a return to normality with these two teams.
There's normality, yes. It's not Rampage off lane, so at least that is a benefit for my own sanity. But we still have a few interesting picks we have not seen today, namely this Wraith and Kalari. So we'll have to see what these two picks can do, because all I'm seeing across this entire board is comfort.
Of course. I mean, when I look at this Indecisive composition here, is like with what we've been seeing, that there are signature picks across the board, right? I mean, Odessa already mentioned about Morose getting their hands on his Grux, Import playing that Crunch, Shin gets Bellica, Neft gets that Wraith, and of course, Argus not really had the opportunity to see who that particular flavor likes to specialize towards, but Manq is very much a capable support to get their hands on it, but also Hive as well. A lot of power picks being picked up as well. I think one of the picks I wanted to highlight the most on was that jungle, the Kalari versus the Crunch matchup, Falcon.
It's going to be an interesting one. I do think Kalari does lose the matchup, at least early game. But once Kalari can get online, get that Malady, and look for those assassinations, especially around that level 6 mark, then it could easily snowball. And I think that's what Hive's entire objective is. They just need to snowball this game. It'd be great if Nugget can get the kills, but a character like Warps, or a player like Warps, a player like Atomic can also do that. And Howitzer and Drongo, we have already seen today how strong those can be. And again, they are both very comfortable on those picks.
And also, well, with this Hive composition is like just in particular looking against Import with the Crunch jungle as well. Some of these picks actually work so well into a Crunch, in my opinion. You know, this Howitzer, this Decker Cage, and also the Drongo pick as well. So I think there's a lot of tools available for Hive to maybe deal with that. But of course, we know what sort of caliber of player Indecisive brings to the party.
It's Import. If you haven't met him, he is probably the best jungler in the game, maybe the best knowledgeable player in this game as well, knows exactly what needs to be done at any moment. And an example of that is him starting blue. That meant that he was on the same side as Kalari, so if Kalari wanted to go for that cheeky level 2 gank that, you know, Kalari's love to do, then he would have been in a position to actually counter it and look for something. But instead, I think Kalari's going to go for this mid lane.
He's got to be careful on this Bellica. One dagger's going to pop, and there's a blink being burnt as well as the death mark is going to activate. Shin take it down to less than 25 HP. Import is here, waiting in the wings. Got the double buffs as well, but Shin being a too low, might think twice about this re-engage, but just in time for the 3-minute river buffs.
Shin, losing that blink is very important because that means NoSlick can now look for those re-ganks into that mid lane. And with Atomic on his house as well, using that landmine to maybe boop the Bellica outside of tower means that it's good to be an easy first blood if they want to look for that eventually. But again, Import is looking around. He has gotten quite a lot of HP, and NoSlick has no mana.
It's going to be careful. He needs this blue buff. Import's going to go in, and Import's going to steal away the blue buff. And he wants Nugslit as well. Pops the invisibility, but he's going to be definitely feeling the pain from that one. Morose was even here just to help in case things got a little dicey.
There's no real need to talk about the solo lane. Morose is just going to have complete control over that lane for basically the entire time. Maybe until first item that Guru can actually do something. So Morose using that pressure, meaning that he can then rotate into the jungle to at least help Import if anything has happened, because Atomic was looking as well because Sin had to return. And just going back to this dual lane, I actually really like Manq on the Argus. I think he does the best on these mage type supports. He doesn't do as good on the Victor or on the Steel. So just having that Dreadnova into Neff's combo is going to be very, very lethal against the likes of Walks and Boinks, and we'll have to see if they want to look at that in the early game.
I think this is also our first game of Wraith that we have seen on broadcast today as well, and also in the hands of Neff. This is a pick, I think that as soon as when Wraith released, this was a pick that Neff just gravitated towards. This is such a mechanical player. I mean, there have been so many shouts about the best ADC in the game. Cold has got a lot of fans, but I'm just going to put my hat out for Neff there. But of course, you know, I'm showing my EU bias here. Atomic bumping into Import and Shin in the river as well. But Neff is over here as well with the peekaboo. Atomic having to burn the blink. Containment fence comes down. Able to at least disengage, but that's another crucial blink on cooldown.
And that's both mid laners throughout Blink as well, so that is going to be a very interesting lane to at least keep an eye on, especially when the likes of Import and NoSlick gets that level 6. We see the Dreadnova come through, Warps taking so much damage just from that 1 CC, and that's just what this lane is going to do for Indecisive.
Well, actually, Warp's able to return a fair amount of damage on towards Manq, dropping down to about 80 mana, so might only have 1 or 2 abilities left in his tank before he has to go back to base. But Neff's still having the confidence with that health advantage as well. Shin, no, very far pushed up, going to bump in towards Nugs. So it does not have the blink, remember. Shin just needs to outplay this, needs to get the juke boots on, maybe go over towards his duo lane. He's simply just going to retreat, doesn't turn around, but left-hand side, Neff gets first blood on his Wraith pick against Boinks.
Atomic using that landmine just completely missed Sin. That basically meant that Sin could easily walk away. Nugslit is looking for Neff. He is alone, but instead knows that the Fang is also happening, is only level 4. There is nothing that Nugslit can really do in this situation.
Oh my word. Wow. Nugslit thought he had an opportunity to get the pick on towards Neff, but the communication comes out. You actually had Indecisive pull away from that early Fangtooth just to collapse and get the kill on towards Nugs. It does delay a little bit. They have pulled away from the Fangtooth, but putting out the Kalari behind, more than worth it.
It's actually really interesting to see because I know we've thought about it a lot, TJ, in these upcoming weeks, that Indecisive's team play has not been good. The communication seems to have been not exactly there, and plays like that show it a completely different team. Indecisive are immediately reacting to what's happening to the rest of their players on the map, immediately pulled away from the Fangtooth and helped get the kill onto Nugslit. Yes, they might have been able to boost Fangtooth, but they would have lost Neft in that situation maybe. So they played for the safer play, got the extra kill, and made get Neff a extra assist as well, which means that he's going to be even further ahead, which is going to be great for the mid game.
It's going to be so difficult as well for Warps and Boinks to play into that. I mean, we talk about what happens when an Argus support is able to get ahead, starts to roam, starts to rule this map. But now we're going to be combined with getting a Wraith ahead as well. Those knocks on these, let's face it, relatively squishy members of the Hive team as well. It's only Mr. Guru on that Sevarog who is the remotest close to being classed as a tank here.
And, I mean, at this point, you're going to have to remember that he is leaning against the Grux on Morose, who is not going to give him any easy time whatsoever. Every single stack that Guru gains is going to be hard fought, and it's going to be even harder if the like of Morose is over here. Import is over here. He's only level 5, but should be getting to level 6 very, very soon. Just gets it from that minion as well. Nugslit is not level 6.
Import is really piling on the misery in this crunch now with the recrunch ultimate available. It's the forward dash. The one dagger goes wide, but the death mark proccing. Import gonna at least get away. I'm able to force Import out of the jungle. Tomato bumping into Shin to the left-hand side of that All Prime pit as well. Not gonna result in any kills, but it's enough for Hive to get Import away from the jungle. And Nugslit finally gets himself a blue buff.
A nice amount of damage actually being done on the Import there. I was surprised at how much that was really happening. I'm assuming the Import is going for that more damage-oriented build. Morose is going to be a good frontliner with him, so he doesn't need to go full tank on at this crunch. And, yeah, that's a lot of damage. Wow.
Yeah, Warps went so low. I think Neff actually missed the killing blow from that knock that would have been lethal, at least on towards the Deca support. But once again, this duo lane's causing problems for Hive.
I mean, it doesn't look like he has to back it up either, so he didn't have his ultimate available, which probably would have guaranteed the kill again. And yeah, just this lane doesn't look fun to play against. I've seen it happen in the solo queue.
No.
And I've seen it happen in competitions. It's just not fun.
No, it can be a very brutal one as well, especially when you're able to hit those shots. And, you know, we mentioned about that setup, the Argus being played by ManQ. That was literally, what, a Dreadnova into a Peekaboo, into a Knock, and Boinks just lost their health bar in just that very quick exchange as well. So difficult, it feels like, for Hive to really get a handle of this game. Maybe that's why there's going to be a lot of pressure, I think, on Nugslit to maybe make this Kalari pick work.
But the problem with Kalari is that you need a snowball. A Kalari that has only farm, no real kills, is not that much of a threat. Yes, he might be able to assassinate Neft in that later stage of the game, or Sin, but if he doesn't do that early on, Indecisive can gain such a lead that the likes of Import and Morose will just kill everyone on the side of Hive.
You can see Import attempting the gank on towards the mid lane, but a good landmine coming out from Atomic, as we mentioned earlier on in the cast as well, about how much of a difficult time that this crunch can have against this Hive composition. I want to maybe dive a little bit further, Falcon, in towards the Hive composition. I mean, we're approaching the 10-minute marks. They find themselves 2 kills down at least, with both of them over on this duo lane. I'm just having a look here as Atomic maybe thinking about the rotation, actually going to walk to take this route round to actually avoid the ward as well. So I don't think ManQ and Neft are actually aware of this as Atomic makes his appearance known. Landmine boots ManQ back towards him, but he's going to blink away into a great stasis bomb coming out from Boinks, and Atomic gets the kill, but it's not going to be for free because his kill's on the other side. But we're staying here over on the left-hand side as Neft acid knock joke, but no one's there to respond. He's going to get his second kill of the game, and now Atomic body block to high hell, and back Shin is here as well. Neft literally just needs to connect the dots, connect the shots, and that's Boinks dropping as well. Neft fights 2 in the river outside Fangtooth.
And the solo laner got Nugslit as well. That means that the mini prime is going to go over to Import as well, and there's going to be no Eternal. Guru is tanky. Yes, he has HP, but there is no way you're dealing with 2 bruisers like that. And I just want to go back to the start of that play. I don't like where ManQ went with his blink. I understand him wanting to try and link up with Shin there, but he should have gone maybe into the corridor by Fangtooth instead, which would have given him a bit more time to escape and would have been able to block at least to make it rain howitzer for a bit longer. But it didn't really matter. The two-man knockup from Sin was monumental. The Neural Disruptor to take down Warps meant that only Atomic was actually doing damage, and Sin and Neft were more than enough to take him down. A great start from the side of Indecisive, and with that mini farm, they can now start looking for these Fangtooths.
Arguably the strongest start that they could have hoped for as well. But now Hive, it's their turn to try and make a play. There's a big grouping in towards this mid lane. Points trying and get a handle on towards Mancu. Not going to find it. No, Nugzit was there as well. 3 members grouping up for the Hive as well. But Indecisive just playing back, kind of weathering the storm at the moment. Maybe this is where we look towards neutral objectives. You know, that Fangtooth is still in play. Neither team has really made a move towards it though. But Mancu hits the Dread Nova. Warps having to blink away. Knock comes through, and Mancu's got the Obliterate ultimate. Warps is down, but Neft's now in a 1 versus 2, and there is his blink guillotine to follow from Nugzit. He wants this shutdown, he wants this kill, but Mancu's Dread Nova by so much time, and Neft needs to hit the shots. Nugzit on the retreat. Import will soon be here to the left-hand side as well. Nugzit needs to hit these daggers, but Neft just knew where he was. What is that spidey sense, my friend? Nugzit is down, and now with an Import is over here to finish up the kill. Takes down Boix, and this dual lane falls on the left-hand side.
Never underestimate the spider senses of an ADC when you're trying to find a Kalari. Neft will always sniff you out. That is the first tower taken from Indecisive as well, and it looked bad. Neft used that blink really early. Yes, they killed Warps. Noxlit did have that Malady online, did have that level 6. He was able to do a sizable amount of damage, but just Nanki creating enough space with his abilities and that Neft had a chance to at least escape for a while. And with the extra damage that allowed him, this is going to be an extra few kills for Indecisive. The first Fangtooth, albeit quite late in this game, and Sin, although 3-man ganked in the mid lane, is still alive.
Looks it's still on the hunt though, as Shin can't afford to start lazy recalling in between towers. You still have to respect where that Kalari could be. Was Nugzit going to take the opportunity just to take away a little bit of Import's jungle as well, but I'm seeing Indecisive start to have a bit of a grouping up. The dual lane has now moved over to the mid lane following and taking down the tower on the left-hand side, maybe trying to siege here, maybe open up this map a little bit more. And just checking on Morose as well, I kind of could, maybe we could be forgiven for thinking we've not even had a solo lane in this game. Has definitely been an island, but Morose linking up with Import once again. Got a look for the smash and grab, and Bashy has found himself and Nugzit. He gets to the blast flower, gets a bit of distance. Morose actually takes a tower shot. Nugzit guillotines away, but into the waiting arms of Morose, who was there, and takes him down with a crush.
Rose has 2 kills this game. Both of them are towards Noxlit. Guru has not actually died this game yet. And yeah, that's not his jungle anymore. Morose can easily push in the wave, rotate into that jungle, and with the help of Import, is going to just take away multiple things. Warps is now also in danger. Sin is around, but it is a 1-on-1. Warps is still got a decent amount of damage, has got that Vanquisher online, only a level down on Sin as well. But look at the river buff, river lane. Neft might be getting caught by 2.
Yeah, Boix and Atomic trying to find it, but Mancu is there, the bodyguard for Neft so many times already in this game. Is just there to get Neft away. He even picks up the Black River buff for himself, well, to give himself some of that movement to get away. All members are going to leave the area. It's 15.5 minutes gone. And a 1 Fangtooth, 1 mini prime taken as well. The towers are falling. Indecisive really are starting to close the vice on Hive. It's a very, very strong early game from your team on Dawn's side.
And it's going to be very easy for Indecisive to also snowball this, especially with the crunch and a crux in this game. And another thing I want to mention that we haven't really talked about, man.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Nugzit's, yeah, Nugzit's just gone, my friend. I can't really add more than that, unfortunately. Just a collapse coming in from the mid lane as well. And I think this maybe links into that composition Falcon that Indecisive has. There is so much pick potential here. Any member out of position or even just caught unawares is most likely dead.
Yeah, I saw Mancu walk up. I didn't see Sin behind, so I just thought Mancu was doing a little bit of light trolling on his team. Speaking of light trolling, Sin is going to be falling here, but the Epoch is going to be used.
Make It Rain coming down as well, having to throw everything and the kitchen sink at it, but they will at least take down Shin, and the kill does go to Atomic as well. Hive still signs of life in, and maybe that's the angle I want to go for here, Falcon, as well. I mean, Hive have got quite a huge task to try and get back into this game. Where do we think they're going to look to try and do that?
They really need to get the shutdowns, especially onto Neft. If they can get a decent kills with the help of Luxley and Atomic just doing so much damage, then that will give a good snowball chance, especially if they can do it just before the Fangtooth or the Mini Prime does spawn. But Indecisive aren't giving them a chance. Neft is playing so safe, just pushing out the lane and immediately dipping out with his invisibility. Import is going to help Royce take this first tower in the off lane. That means he's going to be out on lot for this second Fangtooth if he so wants, because Royce is just going to have a pressure. And if this Mini Prime is given over to Neft, good luck.
Well, this is something that Indecisive like to do as well, and you can see Neft has got that purple hue around him, giving him bonus damage as well for the next couple of minutes. That is frankly obscene what this Wraith can do as well, and really, for the side of the Hive as well, kind of fighting shadows at this point. Indecisive just moving around the map so cleanly and just taking whatever they please.
It really does look like they just turned up for game day, this Indecisive squad. And, I mean, it's interesting to see, because the Hive are not bad players whatsoever. Luxley is one of the best junglers in North America. So just having this performance on his signature pick like Kalari is kind of shocking, honestly. And we'll have to see what they can look for next. I still think they'd basically look for Nest pick, because then that would remove the Mini Prime as well as just Neft from this field. But you need multiple members to do that, and Neft is just playing so well with his team, especially Manq.
Yeah, Manq on Argus, and also Shin on this Bellica as well. Another one of these picks that has had a bit of a mixed bag today, I think that's fair to say, where some teams have just simply let the Bellica through, but of course still remains a high priority for some. Nugs though, fancy an opportunity to look for Neft. He's going to have to actually use his guillotine just to get to safety as the play is going to be called off for members of the Hive. Looking for a pick towards that mid lane as the Fangtooth will be spawning momentarily as well. But of course, Indecisive are here for it as well. They're going to start up their second Fangtooth. Nugslit moving over to the right-hand side. Looks like Hive might concede this second Fangtooth.
As soon as they saw Nugslit ult, they knew that there was basically no threat to Kalari. There was no way that Nugslit would actually been able to walk in on that situation. So basically guaranteed Fangtooth from this side. You see Atomic has actually rotated into the solo side. So they are going to get a tier 1 tower in response. But second Fangtooth for tier 1 is going to be always advantage Indecisive. And one more thing I want to mention is that Manq has gone for that reclamation on the Argus, which I actually love, because it completely stops the Decker engage with Riftwalkers. Whoa!
Whoa! I mean, Nugslit thought he was safe to recall, but Import was waiting behind the wings. A blink forward crunch, and the Hive jungler is back to their spawn once again.
An allied tower is destroyed.
Thanks, Import. I didn't finish my point, but I'm afraid that's just going to be an extra kill for this crunch. And they're just going to start playing on cooldown. Why not? They don't even have the duo over here. Rose, Import, and Sin are going to just start it up. And Nugslit is dead for another 10 seconds. I don't even know if Hive know this is happening.
So this is one of the earliest prime pools that we have had. I think it was our second quarterfinal game where we had maybe an earlier one than that, but this was literally on. They were also there 5 seconds before anyway, but all 5 members of Indecisive are here. It's all prime, taking a while to go down. Hive have at least arrived, but the Dreadnova stun does land onto points, onto Guru to have to back away. Indecisive don't overstay their welcome, take the objective, and get out of there.
Just a perfect play from Indecisive, knowing what they can gain, knowing that there is zero reason to fight, even with a 2-man stun with that Dreadnova. They didn't overpress, they didn't know where the rest of Hive was, and they know that it is much more important to get the 5 members with this Orb Prime buff out compared to just getting maybe an extra 1 or 2 kills from Hive. Because now the gold is going to really come in. Now they can push these last 2 towers. Now they can even look to seize his inhibitors. And Neft has 3.5 items at 20 minutes.
Yeah, Mind Razor Vanquisher got that Demolisher online once again, looking to demolish some health bars as well of this relatively squishy Hive team as well, wanting to stamp on the bugs as well. Red Nova connecting from Manq, Nugzit also able to avoid being picked up as well, but Stin is here with an Aura Disruptor. Manq obliterates and boinks down once again, opening the door for the siege. Tier 2 tower gonna fall as Indecisive do not let up this pressure.
It's like Manq's just a second mate at this point. I saw him have Time Warp Megacosm earlier. I'm not sure what else he's built since then. But don't forget, this Argus is still an Argus. He still has plenty of damage, even if he isn't going to be the main threat on this team. Has got that level 9 as well. So if he has maxed that particle accelerator. But enough to talk about that, they're just diving.
Yeah, Import just going for the play, and Neft is on hand to provide that damage. Warps this down once again, and Blink will come out the setback on towards Atomic. What was that damage coming out from the peekaboo from Neft? That was obscene. Need to put a mature audiences only if we're going to show gameplay like that. Now Mr. Guru has finally been left alive for too long, and Indecisive going to cash in the kill on towards Sevrog. Right lane inhibitor going to drop an Indecisive. All 5 members just pulling apart the Hive base.
That was their tank, TJ. That was their tank that's been farming for 22 minutes and died in 3 autos. There's 3 members left on the side of Hive. They're just going to try and end.
I mean, with 5 members, with 2 mini waves underneath the core, and with Nef hitting like a truck, they're just going to take down multiple members. It's a cherry on top, but 23 minutes is all it takes for Indecisive to pull apart this Hive team and take game 1.
Yeah, the Kalari pick was not it. 0-7 and 0 for Nugzit. No kill protection whatsoever. But, I mean, Hive got 2 kills in that game. Indecisive from level, not level 1, but from First Blood, just controlled that game to a ridiculous standpoint. And I know, TJ, that us 2 together, we like casting stomps, but that was a stomp of a stomp.
Yeah, we can't really sugarcoat it more than that. And as I said, I think definitely some questions to ask for the Hive, but I think that sort of gameplay can't really be solved with a draft, really. I mean, Indecisive, I don't know if they must have had their breakfast this morning. They must have turned up today when it mattered, because that was just so clean from across the board, all 5 members. I'm absolutely astonished as well. But remember, this is a best-of-3 series, and the Hive, I think, can be forgiven for maybe thinking ahead to game 2 during the latter stages of that game as well. We have got another match in this one left. But to break down game 1 even further, we're throwing back to the analyst desk.
Thank you so much, TJ and Falcon. Welcome back to the desk. My name is Ardog with the Triple G. I am joined by Ed as well as Lance. What a game 1 between these 2 teams, the Hive and Indecisive. 23 minutes and Import just took over the jungle, whether that be his or the Hives. He did not care. This game was piloted by Indecisive from start all the way to the finish. They played with no mercy, and the stomp was unrelentless. Ed, what else happened during that game?
I mean, it's the way of the road, you know? Sometimes she goes, sometimes she don't. And for the Hive on that one, she don't go. Just kind of a unanimous win on Indecisive side through and through. Nothing really seemed to go right for the Hive. You know, they still made some decent plays and such overall, but Import was just all over the map. There really wasn't much Hive could do there. It was kind of a bummer to see, because I'm rooting for the Hive a little bit. You know, I have a couple buddies on that team, but yeah, it was that was tough to watch a little bit.
They definitely controlled everything from that game. But Lance, what else were the main takeaways from that game?
I think that it's hard to not just kind of double down on what Ed said and talk about what Import did. If you can invade one side of the enemy jungle and take it away from them, you now control 75% of the map while the enemy controls 25%. At a certain point, before he was necessarily should be capable of doing it, Import was taking about 90% of the jungle and leaving poor Nugs to just not have any spot to farm, just constantly, consistently invaded and taken away. And that's something that the Kalari tries to do when playing, and they're trying to go and take the things away from you. So to the Uno reverse card there, very, very impressive stuff. And then it's just another notch in the bedpost for Ed as he takes another, member down. And I don't know what Hive's going to do.
And usually it is the Kalari that you're expecting to see do the invasions, but Indecisive just able to capitalize on their crowd control, and Import did a really good job. But ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere, because we potentially have our last game of the day between Indecisive and the Hive. There's a lot at stake here for the Hive. If they lose this next game, they are out of the tournament. But we're gonna take a quick break.